Senator DeRosa.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator, for continuing to raise this issue and for watching out for our kids and families. My question is about if the has been testified that the unification treatments would prohibit a court from ordering family reunification treatments. What's if that's to be prohibited, what's the healthy substitute? What is the substitute for that would address the issue has been raised by the opposition, which is that it works, it has worked. I don't know what if there's a percentage and when it does or doesn't, or if there's just an outright no, not use it, but not make that available for the courts, but there's other things in its place that should be used.
Thank you for that. I just want to highlight one thing, and the issue that the parent, Daniel Barbosa, who is the opposition, his issue, what he shared, his story that he shared, as well as what happened to Zoe, as well as what happened to Peaky and his murder. I mean, they all have one thing in common, and that is that their circumstances all arise from a ruling that a judge made. And so I think this only highlights the importance of this bill because it's focused on the education of the courts and the judges. Now, if this goes away, and I want to highlight what this does, the order is for a child to be just ripped away from their known household. They're taken away sometimes 9 months. I know a parent who that I heard she hasn't seen her child in 2 years. There is substitution. There's family therapy. There's, counseling. In school as a teacher, I can tell you we have a lot of options, but I don't want anyone to think that if this disappears, we don't have options. We have a lot of qualified institutions that provide services to family. And what this bill does, I don't believe fixes the problem. As you heard from Zoe was gone for about 9 months. She couldn't even call her mom. She was traumatized over this, and that's not fixing the problem. So I think this bill only highlights the importance that Mr. Barbosa, who says, there was issues with his wife, Anna, Zoe. Again, I want to clarify that this bill is to highlight the deficiencies sometimes in the ruling of the court. So number one is that we need education for the courts and the judges. But number two, I want to also focus on some of the comments made that that we shouldn't talk about Peaky and that Peaky shouldn't be brought up. The reason it's named Peaky is that I know the mother personally. She's a friend. I know the grandma. And Peaky is from my district. So I wanted to honor him by naming it Peaky. But if you look at the title of the bill says Peaky's Law, Keeping Children Safe from Family Violence. So Peaky's Law is just to highlight his name, but her ruling led in some way to the murder of the child. The other ruling led to Zoe being taken away for 9 months and tormented. And I would argue in many ways that there was a ruling that Mr. Barbosa had that could be favorable and unfavorable because he said that the child was taken away and he was struggling. Someone had to make that ruling. But to say that if this goes away, we don't have anything else here. We have therapists, we have family counselors, we have service providers that help families navigate these issues. And I'm so sorry for Mr. Barbosa, and I'm sorry for Zoe and Peaky, but once again, you have two sides discussing outcomes and decisions. Clearly there's a problem. We're dealing with children. We're dealing with vulnerable circumstances. And whether one is right or the other, one thing is clear. We need to look into this issue. We need to educate, which is what this bill intends to do. And we want to make sure that these children are not put through such horrific circumstances. So this not only happens here, but I want to highlight also that children are removed from California and taken to other states. That is not what a child is comfortable with. I'm a teacher. I can tell you, plucking a child out of school with their friends and their families, not necessarily their home life, that's also traumatic. So we're just trying to figure out how do we keep these children safe. That is why it's called Keeping Children Safe from Family Violence. So we have plenty of good institutions that provide services for families.